तिमिरन्धस्य Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mayam Dadanti Swapadantikam Vandeham Srigaron Sriyutapatakabalam Srigurun Vaishnavam Shra Srirupam Sakrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanitam Tam Sajivam Satvaivam Swavadutam Haritana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Bhagavan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Radha Namostute Sapta Kanjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanjakalpatarubhrashya Sindhuvayevacha Patidanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gauravacharinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Taram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayet Tasya Prayesvabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavat Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Shashwin. Let's read the text 11.
Vadanti tat tattva viddas tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti sabbudyate. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Shashwin. Avinash Prabhuji, is it possible for you to do the shlok for us, the text line by line, so we can repeat after you and practice our Sanskrit, please?
Okay, I'll try.
Text 11.
Yeah. Vadanti tat sattva vedas.
Vadanti tattva
Tattvam yajnanam advayam.
Advayam
Brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti sabdyate.
Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagwan
iti sabdyate.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji, we can hear you and see you as well.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'm just in a different location, so I just wanted to make
Yes,
sure that everything is visible and audible.
it's a beautiful location, Prabhuji. We can see your location and hear you and see
Okay,
you.
great. Yeah, I'm at the Gurukul.
Nice.
So it's nice to be here. I just came for a meeting here. So Jay, thank you for inviting me to be with you today. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. We are reading the Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 1 and Chapter 2. Chapter 2 is the Divinity and Divine Service. And we are on text 11. Prabhuji, we have done the Mangalacharan and we've read the text.
Okay, you read the text?
Yes,
Okay,
Prabhuji.
great. So shall we read the purport?
Translation and purport. Yes,
Translation
Prabhuji.
purport. Okay, okay. Let me just load it up on my
Prabhuji, if you
thing.
want help, we can read it for you as well.
Oh yes, sure. Please feel free to do that. That'll be great.
Okay. Soni Mataji, are you okay to read the translation and purport? You can read one paragraph and I can read the next one.
Hare Krishna. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah.
Learned transcendentalists who know about the absolute truth call this non-dual substance Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagwan. Purport. The absolute truth is both subject and object, and there is no qualitative difference there. Therefore, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan are qualitatively one and the same. The same substance is realized as impersonal Brahman by the students of the Upanishads, as localized Paramatma by the Hiranyagarbhas or the yogis, or as Bhagwan by the devotees. In other words, Bhagwan or the personality of Godhead is the last word of the absolute truth. Paramatma is the partial representation of the personality of Godhead, and impersonal Brahman is the glowing effulgence of the personality of Godhead as the sun rays are to the sun god. Less intelligent students of either of the above schools sometimes argue in favor of their own respective position, but those who are perfect seers of the absolute truth know well that the above three features of the absolute truth are different perspective views seen from different angles of vision. Hare Krishna.
As it is explained in the first shloka of the first chapter of the Bhagavatam, the Supreme Truth is self-sufficient, cognizant, and free from illusion of reality. In the relative world, the knower is different from the known. But in the absolute truth, both the knower and the known are one and the same thing. In the relative world, the knower is a living spirit of superior energy, whereas the known is inert matter or inferior energy. Therefore, there is a duality of inferior and superior energy, whereas in the absolute realm, both the knower and the known are of the same superior energy. There are three kinds of energies of the supreme energetic. There is no difference between the energy and the energetic, but there is a difference of quality of energies. The absolute realm and the living entities are of the same superior energy, but the material world is inferior energy. The living being in contact with the inferior energy is illusioned, thinking he belongs to the inferior energy. Therefore, there is the sense of relativity in the material world. In the absolute, there is no sense of difference between the knower and the known, and therefore everything there is absolute. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Soni Mataji and Kirtika Mataji, for reading the translation and purport. Thank you to Sachin. I'm sorry I missed it today. I always love hearing the Mangala Charan and the recitation of the verse. But thank you, Sachin. I'm sure you did that as lovingly and devotionally and expertly as you do every week. Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prastaya Bhutale, Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine, Namaste Saraswati Deve, Gauravani Pracharine, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi, Paschatya Deshatharine. Hare Krishna. So thank you all for attending the Zoom session this evening. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, text number 11, where we have Sutta Goswami speaking to the sages and discussing tattva here. Tattvam yajnanam advayam. So this tattva, the absolute truth, discussing the absolute truth. And we have this famous saying that we have here. This is where we get it from. Brahmeti paramatmeti Bhagavan iti sabdyate. So we have Brahman, we have Paramatma, and we have the Bhagavan aspect of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We know as devotees, to be devotees of the Lord, three things need to be there, which we spoke about actually some time back. We have bhakti, which is a process. We have bhakta, which is us devotees, and we have Bhagavan. So in order for us to have Bhagavan realization, we understand that there's the bhakta and there's the bhakti. Because in order to experience Krishna in his in the most wholesome way, we try and develop a relationship with him. And bhakti means devotion. And there can only be devotion if there's a person to be devoted to. We are always looking around for who is the hero and who is the enemy. Right now, the enemy of the world is the Russian president, Putin. He is the enemy of the world. And we are now looking, he is the Kamsa right now. And we are looking for a hero. We're looking for a hero to put an end to all these troubles in the Ukraine. And ultimately what happens, we are in this material world, and the nature of this material world is to have some fear. This material world is full of fear. So right now we have fear of a war. Just when COVID was easing, we thought, oh, life is going to be okay now, life will be relaxed. And now we've got a war. When this war ends, something else will happen. There's no time to relax in this material world. There is no security in this material world. This material world is full of fear. So we have fear for so many things. We have fear we'll lose our job. We have fear that we'll miss the flight. We have fear that the children won't do well at school. We have fear that the children will marry the wrong person or not get married, or marry the same sex rather than the opposite sex, or the opposite sex rather than the same sex. We have so many fears, so many fears. The children won't earn enough. The husband or wife won't look after me nicely. What will happen to me when I get old? Who's going to take care of me? We have so many fears. And this material world is full of fear. Srila Prabhupada explains that there's so much misery here. The Adi Devik, Adi Atmic, Adi Bautik, the miseries caused by other living entities, the miseries caused by the one's own mind, and the miseries caused by the karmic reactions from that the demigods give to us. For example, floods and earthquakes, etc. We have so much anxiety and so much fear. Yet because we keep planning, and yet because we keep thinking it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay, we think we're happy. And Prabhupada emphatically says, rascals who think they will be happy because they're making all these plans. You know, Prabhupada is very emphatic in the way he discusses these things. And I was thinking, see, this is Srila Prabhupada, a pure devotee who is inaugurating a movement, time, place, and circumstance. He's starting off a movement. He needs to get people on side. He needs to create something. So it's the euphoria of being around a personality who's creating a movement, who's got the devotion and the empowerment of the Supreme Lord to start a movement that he has. We cannot imitate, we can't go around calling people rascals, because they will just call us rascals. But no one will call Srila Prabhupada that, because Prabhupada is a pure devotee. He has the power, and that power comes directly from Krishna. For us, when we say things like that, it comes directly from our pride and our false ego. So when we say, oh, rascal, they're rascals. Why? Because we think we're something amazing. We think we're so good and everyone else is a rascal, because we took to Krishna consciousness, or we found the right path, or we're in the, and you know, we're in the right club. You know, it's like my spiritual master used to come to London, and when he would see only those of Indian bodies around, he would say, this is not meant to be an Indian club. Go and preach to the locals. So so ultimately this is our given service by Srila Prabhupada. The service given to us by Srila Prabhupada is to share Krishna consciousness with everyone. Don't rest on our own sadhana. Rest on giving Krishna consciousness, not rest, I would say be dynamic in giving Krishna consciousness to everyone around us. Somehow or the other, the real maturity of the fruits of the bhakti that we are working on, that we are trying to develop with Krishna, is all about how can I give Krishna consciousness? How can I give Krishna to others? How can I give Krishna to those around me? So there'll be times in our life where we're going to give Krishna. Well, should we say there's three main aspects? We have our seva, we have our sadhana, and we have our dharma. Seva, sadhana, and dharma. And at times we're going to be focusing more on our seva. At times we're going to be focusing more on our sadhana. And at times we're going to be focusing more on our dharma. So when are we going to be focusing more on our seva? Well, if you're involved in a big project, and this project is like you're making a pandal, and you're getting a big speaker, and you're going to get 5,000 people there, and you're going to, you're immersed in this service. So what will you do at that time? You'll make sure your sadhana is at an okay level, a good level. You'll make sure your dharma is still ticking over, and then your focus will be on your seva. Sometimes you might go to Vrindavan, and when you go to Vrindavan, you're there, and yes, you'll do some seva, you're going to do your dharma, but at the same time, you might immerse yourself in your deep connection with Krishna. Your sadhana becomes the focus. And then sometimes, let's say you're a new parent, you've just had a child. At the time you've just had a child, your dharma becomes your focus. You'll still do a little bit of seva, you'll still do your sadhana. At least you'll keep a minimum level of your sadhana. Okay, I'll chant 16 rounds. I may not be able to wake up at 4 o'clock every day because the baby wakes me up all night, but I'll still do my 16 rounds. I'll still do my little bit of service, but my focus becomes my dharma. So the thing for us is, when we have this balance to strike, and this balance is always going on, sadhana, service, sadhana, seva, and dharma. When we have this focus, or should we say, when we have this balance, we should at least make sure whenever we're focusing on one of the three, the other two have at least kept to some sort of minimum standard. So let's say if your focus right now is your dharma, you just become a parent, you've got to focus on being a father or a mother, then okay, make sure you've got a minimum level of sadhana. I'll chant 16 rounds and I'm going to read 20 minutes a day. A minimum level of seva. I'll do one thing a week. I'll go for prasad distribution once a week, or I'll organize something once a week, or I'll go and do the pujari service once a week, whatever it is. But what needs to happen is there's a minimum level of everything else. So for example, if one is going to Vrindavan, then what happens is generally they're going to try and immerse themselves in their sadhana. So their service will still maybe continue. Maybe they'll still answer a few phone calls. Maybe whatever's urgent and pressing and whatever they're responsible for, they'll still deal with. And maybe they'll also spend some time with their family, or if their family is not with them, give them a call, say, hey, how are you doing? Missing you. And then, so there's still some as minimum levels of dharma, minimum level of seva, but the sadhana is the focus at the moment. Same thing, if your seva is the focus, there'll be a minimum level of dharma, minimum level of sadhana that continues. So this way, in this way, we can balance. In this way, we can make sure there's a healthy balance of the three things that we need to do. And when we do this, we come to understand more and more and more that actually we need help. Actually, we need help because it's so hard, isn't it? Isn't it so hard to make sure your dharma is ticking over, your job and your family responsibilities ticking over, your sadhana's going okay, you're waking up early, you're chanting, you're reading, you're doing some service. All these things are like, there's quite a, it's like, whoa, how do I fit all of that in? So we need some help. And then when we think about, okay, we need help, generally, we think, okay, who can I ask for help? And as soon as we think, who can I ask? Not what can I ask, who can I ask? The concept is who. Who can I ask for help? And we understand actually this world is gearing us towards the desire more and more and more of personal relationships. Because without personal relationships, how will we know who to ask, who to go to for help? Because we need help. And we need the association of the devotees, and we also need to develop, as well as these horizontal relationships with devotees, we need to develop a vertical relationship with Krishna. We need to develop that one-to-one vertical relationship. I'm the servant, Krishna is my master. We need to develop this relationship with Krishna. And this relationship is Bhagavan, this Bhagavan realization. Yes, Krishna is the source of Brahman. He's the source of the Brahma Jyoti. Yes, all the effulgence, all the light, the transcendental light to the spiritual world. Yes, that is coming from Krishna. That's Krishna's bodily rays. Yes, Krishna is in our hearts as Vishnu, Shirodaksha Vishnu. Krishna is there. Krishna is guiding us. Krishna is Upadresh Tanumanta. He is the overseer and he is the permitter. He is the sanctioner of everything that happens. Yes, as well as Brahman, as well as the Paramatma, the super soul in our hearts. Krishna is the object of our love. Krishna is the person that is to be known. Krishna is everything in one person. Nothing can happen. Nothing can happen without Krishna. Nothing can happen without this loving relationship with Krishna. So we are here in this material world, struggling with all these different miseries, struggling with our friendships, struggling with our relationships, hurt by people who are meant to love us. We've been let down by those close to us and those not so close to us. But are we always getting let down? You take your car to get fixed, and afterwards you realize that they broke it more so they could fix it more to take some money off you. You know, in this material world, we need to get used to the fact we're going to get let down. We're going to get let down. And this is the biggest mercy that Krishna is sending us. Because the more we realize that this material world is not to be trusted, the more we'll run and run and run to that one person, the one person who wants us so badly. Krishna wants us so badly. So who cares if my son let me down, or my daughter let me down, or my mom let me down, or my dad let me down, or my brother or my sister, brother-in-law, father-in-law, uncle, auntie, this one, that one. They're meant to let us down. That's why we're in the material world. If they didn't let us down and everything was great, we'd get so comfortable in what was so nice in our bubble of family life that we wouldn't run to Krishna. And with desperation, when we run to Krishna and we say to Krishna, Krishna, in this situation, how can I serve you? How can I serve you? Oh, Bhagavan, Bhagavan iti sabdyate. He is known as Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna, You, the person, how can I connect myself to you? How can I serve you? This is my situation. You know my situation. My situation is tearing me inside out. But my dear Lord, please guide me. Please show me how I can serve you. How can I serve you in this situation? And if this is our deep desire, if our deep desire is to serve Krishna through whatever we're going through in our life, Krishna will open all the doors. He will also close some doors, and we can meditate. Which doors is Krishna closing? Which, at the moment, which doors is Krishna closing? Like, it's just becoming obvious. Something now is ending. And it happens. Maybe a friendship is ending, a service is ending, some sort of relationship, be it conjugal or parental or whatever, some sort of relationship, maybe a job is ending, something might be ending. Which door is Krishna closing? And meditate on, why might he be closing this? What does he want me to learn from this door being closed? Closed. And which door is Krishna opening for me? Which door is Krishna opening for me? How can I make best use of this new path that Krishna is opening up? Suddenly the phone call comes and devotees asking you to do some different type of service. A new door is being opened. Suddenly another job comes along and you say, oh, maybe I need to change job. Krishna's opening different doors. Why? Because as Bhagavan, he is taking a very personal interest in our lives. He actually is interested. It's a personal interest. He actually cares. It's amazing, isn't it? He actually cares. He loves us and he actually cares about us. So yes, even as Paramatma, he's the overseer and the permitter. Upadreshta Anumanta. Yes, this is Krishna. He oversees everything and he sanctions everything. But more than that, he loves us. More than being the overseer, more than being the sanctioner, he loves us. And he's arranging things in such a way that we can see the doors that he is opening towards him. He is allowing doors to open towards him. It's just that when we get through the door that he opens, we have got two choices. And our two choices are Krishna or Maya. He still leaves that to us. So yes, he'll open the door to run to him, but he'll also open the door to the nightclub at the same time. He'll also open the door to some other form of shelter. And this is what it is. Where do we take shelter? In the time of our most deepest fear, where do we find shelter? And if we're finding our shelter in Krishna, then we'll always run to Krishna. If we find our shelter in something else or someone else, then at the time of death, that is what we will think about. So remembering Krishna at the time of death isn't necessarily, I chanted Hare Krishna at the time of death. And I'm going to qualify that statement because I might shock people with what I just said. So let's say, for example, I've had a whole life of sense gratification. I've just done so much sin, lots of sense enjoyment, and then I get to a certain age and think, okay, now I'm going to get a gun to my head and I'm going to shoot myself and chant Hare Krishna, and it's gone. Now, does that mean you've gone back to Godhead because you chanted Hare Krishna? No, Krishna says, remember me at the time of death. And we can only remember Krishna at the time of death if what we have taken, if Krishna has been the person we've taken shelter of when we've gone through difficult times in our life. Because if we've gone through difficult times in our life and we take shelter of Krishna, then at the time of death, we'll be able to take shelter of Krishna. So we have to develop a relationship with the Bhagavan aspect, with the personal form of the Lord. And we can do this by developing some connection, maybe some prayer to the deities. If we see the deities and we offer our prayers to the deities, we see that Krishna is there. He's coming into this form as so beautiful. Aren't the deities so beautiful? Especially we go to different temples, and I'm sure we're all attached to our home deities. But even in London here, when we go to Soho Street, we see Radha Landanishwara, and we go to the manor here, Radha Gokulananda here. And it's so nice because Radha Gokulananda are so beautiful, and Radha Landanishwar are so beautiful. We go to Nairobi, and Radha Vankavihari are just so beautiful. And we go to Mayapur, and Radha Madhava are so beautiful. And we see Krishna Balram and Radha Shyam Sundar in Vrindavan. So wherever we go, the deities are there. They're looking stunning. They're beautiful. And we can develop a relationship with the Lord in his most personal form through his Archa Vigraha, through his form as the deity. So this is our most greatest fortune, that Krishna is allowing us to have such a personal relationship with him. It's like we can have a real personal connection with him, even though we're so insignificant. I mean, just think about how many living entities there are, and like Krishna knows all of them. And right now, when we say, think about how many living entities, we're just thinking of humans. We might just be thinking about the number of humans on our road. You know, that's quite a lot, isn't it? The number of humans that live on our road. And then you think, okay, how about the whole town, the whole country, the whole continent, all the continents, the whole world? Oh my God, that's so many. But this world is just so, this Earth planet is so small compared to the whole universe. And then you're thinking, well, hold on, this is just one universe. There's so many, there's millions of universes. Oh my God. And what? Krishna is so great. He is in control of all of these universes. And I'm just a little speck of a speck of a speck of a speck of a speck, but he's still allowing me to have a personal relationship with him. This is the greatness of Krishna. This is the Bhagavan aspect of Krishna. He's allowing us to have a personal relationship with him. He's allowing us to have this. It says in the purport here about the superior and inferior energies, us jivas, us living entities, we are the marginal energy. Why? Because we are, in one sense, so conditioned by the inferior energy, but we also have the ability to spiritualize ourselves and connect with the spiritual energy. How do we connect with the spiritual energy? Through devotional service, through the 9 processes of bhakti, hearing, chanting, remembering, and so on. So we have Krishna ready for love. And Krishna's up for it. Krishna's up for it. He knows what a hard time we're having. He knows what a hard time we're having. And sometimes he just smiles and he lets us get on with it, and then he helps us. It's like we can think about when Arjuna was struggling in Kurukshetra. You know, he's about to fight and he's about to have this war. And what happens? Arjuna says to Krishna, oh, take me to the middle. Let me see who's here to fight with me. And Krishna takes him, and Arjuna sees that it's Bhishma, it's Drona, it's oh my God, it's all my relatives, and he starts to panic, and he doesn't want to do it, and he doesn't want to fight. And Krishna, has a little smile and sees, oh, okay, why? It's not that he's smiling at Arjuna's pain. So it's not like Krishna smiles at our pain, but Krishna smiled that, okay, look at the situation. This battlefield is now turning into a classroom. This battlefield is now turning into a classroom because Arjuna is asking some deep, profound questions, and Krishna is about to answer them in the conversation of the Gita. So similarly, for us, our battlefield can turn into a classroom. What we are going through in our life, whatever it is, it can be a classroom. How can it be a classroom? Keep introspecting, keep thinking, what is it that I need to learn from this situation? What can I learn? How can I grow? You know what the most frustrating thing is to see is when I try and And even I do this myself, so I'm not going to pretend I'm a great person who doesn't do this. What's frustrating is when we can't take responsibility and accountability of what we are doing wrong, and we keep pointing the fingers at what everyone else is doing. This is such a big problem in Kali Yuga, and us devotees are not immune to this disease until we become pure devotees. We keep seeing what everyone else is doing wrong, and we're not looking deep inside ourselves to think, what can I do to change the situation? Where is my responsibility in this? What have I done to make this situation happen? And do we turn this battlefield into a classroom like Arjuna did? Do we ask the questions of senior devotees? Do we question ourselves? Okay, what do I need to learn? What do I need to learn? Can I connect this to my karma? Can I connect this? You may be able to, we may not be. Can we see what we've done? And if we're always so defensive, no, it's not like that. It's not because of this. No, I did do this. I did do that. Someone says, no, actually, Prabhu, you should try this. No, I already tried that. It didn't work. He's like this and she's like this. The more we live like this, the more we are getting caught up in Maya's trick. And Maya's trick is to stop our spiritual growth. And our spiritual growth is fully dependent on our humility. And our humility, Tunadapi Sunichana, Tarorapi Sahishna, Amani Namana Dena, Kirtaniya, Sadahari, our humility, yes, is dependent on being humble like a blade of grass and tolerant like a tree and expecting no respect from others. But our humility is as much dependent on Manadena. Amanina, Manadena. Manadena means respecting everyone else. Can we respect others? Because if we can respect others, and I think we've spoken about this before in a previous session, the more we can get into respecting others, even if we don't like them. And let's face it, there are people we don't like, even devotees. Some devotees, we just don't like them because we are not seeing eye to eye. But if we can respect other devotees, respect their opinions, and respect that they're still trying in their way to become devotees and serve Srila Prabhupada. If we can respect everyone and we can see our areas of growth, then what happens? Krishna sends his mercy unendingly. He keeps sending his mercy. He helps us grow. All these battlefields we are in, we can turn them into a classroom. We can learn from them and get ourselves more connected to Krishna and develop a deeper loving relationship with him. But this battlefield will only become a classroom if we're willing to learn. We can't fight the teacher anymore. And Krishna is our teacher. We can't fight with him. No, Krishna, it wasn't me. It's not me, Krishna. It's him, it's her, it's them. It's no, Krishna, I'm perfect, Krishna. I didn't do anything wrong. They targeted me. It was so unfair. This is ultimately when we behave in such a manner, what happens is we're actually saying to Krishna, I don't want to spiritually grow. I don't want to spiritually grow. I want to stay where I am. And Maya then wins. Maya wins. And what is the saying? For a devotee, Maya is a stepping stone to Krishna. For a non-devotee, Maya is a stumbling block to Krishna. So do we want Maya to be a stepping stone or a stumbling block? And Maya will be a stumbling block if we cannot see how we can try to improve, if we cannot enter the classroom in the battlefield. If we can enter the classroom in the battlefield and see, okay, Krishna, what is it I need to learn? How can I be kind in this situation? And kind doesn't mean be a doormat. Arjun wanted to be kind, but Krishna didn't tell him, okay, to be kind, you must let Bhishma kill you. No, Krishna said, to be kind, you actually have to kill Bhishma. You have to kill Drona. You have to kill all of these relatives of yours. But are we learning the lesson? And we'll only learn the lesson if we're willing to learn. And we can tell if we're frustrated, if we're upset, if we're sad all the time, if we're overcome by hankering, if we're overcome by lamentation, if we're overcome by ill feeling towards others, we know we have let the material energy, we have let Maya become a stumbling block. If we're feeling inspired to grow, if we're struggling but progressing because we still want Krishna, we still have a taste to serve Krishna, we still can be loving towards the devotees, respectful towards the devotees, then yes, the Maya, material energy Maya, is becoming a stepping stone to Krishna. It's up to us to let the battlefield become a classroom. If the battlefield doesn't become a classroom, the battlefield wears us down. And we are in the business of growth, and growth comes from learning. When we first come to Krishna consciousness, we think Krishna is going to roll out the red carpet. He's going to take away all the miseries and we're just going to have a happy, fun life, chant, dance, and chant and dance, and chant and dance, and never have a problem because we're just going to chant and dance and one day go back to Godhead and that's it. We're going to just be like in the air somewhere, not even, but actually the reality of it is Krishna does roll out the red carpet. We just got to get onto the stepping stones. And those stepping stones are stones. They hurt a little bit, but you can step on them and walk on. They hurt. The material energy hurts, but they're stepping stones. And if we don't take them as stepping stones, they become stumbling blocks and we don't grow. And we can't take the opportunity that Krishna has given to us. So this can all come when we go beyond Brahman, go beyond Paramatma and understand Krishna, Bhagavan, Krishna, the personality, Krishna, who wants me so badly, I can develop a loving relationship with him. And this is what we can do. We can develop this loving relationship with Krishna if we're willing to get into the classroom. Just like Arjuna, he's in Kurukshetra, but he turned the battlefield into a classroom, and look what happened. He went from lamentation to surrender. Right at the beginning of Krishna's first instruction to Arjuna is, why are you lamenting so much? Why are you lamenting so much? And at the end, Sarva Dharman Pritija, just surrender unto me. Do not fear. No more lamentation. Last instruction, don't lament. So the Bhagavad Gita, this story of Arjuna is the story of overcoming lamentation. Maharaj Parikshit in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the story is overcoming this lamentation of, okay, I made a mistake. What do? I go to Sukadev Goswami, and now Suta Goswami is explaining it to the sages. He's explaining here in this verse that yes, let's go beyond all aspects and get to the pinnacle, get to the peak, which is a personal relationship with Krishna. So we can stop here. Thank you so much for your kind attention. Thank you for allowing me to be here and share with you. Please feel free to share any comments, realizations, questions, corrections. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Wow, it was a very hard class today. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. No, Prabhuji. I at least personally, I enjoyed it, and I'm sure there are lots of questions and comments. Would anybody like to start with a question or comment? Yes,
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji and Hare Krishna, everyone. In fact, it was really a mesmerizing class today. I really enjoyed a word, all the words, a single word. And my problem, like I'm trying now to note down some like main points. But your class and your whole sentence are so important. I just couldn't write what to write. Until I finish one sentence, you are just going ahead. And it was so interesting to listen that I just couldn't write anything. So I think I'll have to go to YouTube channel again and then take out the points. So thank you so much for such a beautiful class. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
that's
Thank you
why I
so
found
much
it.
for your kind words. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Second, you Madhurupa full out on what you said.
Sorry,
Yes, that's
Mataji.
I said I second you full out on what you said. Every
Oh,
sentence is powerful
yeah,
and potent.
really, really.
When your teacher tells you that, it humbles us and gives us a lot of encouragement. Thank you, Mansi Ganga Mataji. She taught me how to finish the one round, and then you change and you go and do the second round. Don't go on the head beat. So thank you, Gurudev, Gurudevi, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Yes, that's why it was so hard. Usually I just jot points or bullets, and today it was sentencing and couldn't keep up. Okay, any more questions before I have 3 questions, but if there are any questions from the group, kindly unmute and ask your questions. Okay, maybe till you are thinking, I can go with what we have here. So Prabhuji, you said Seva, Dharma and Sadhana. They are important. But here, this group, I mean, not all of them, but some of them are neophytes and they are hardly even able to chant their rounds. Prabhuji, so should they just, how can you have Preeti with Krishna? How can you love him? You have to hear about him. So if there's only one thing they want to do, would that be chanting or listening to listening about him, or how do they create that love?
Yeah, it's a nice question, Kirtika Mataji. I think the first thing we want to do is develop a taste. And the way to develop a taste is doing what we're inspired to do. So what do we like doing more? Do we like chanting more? Do we like hearing more, reading more, serving more? And the more we do what we like, Krishna reciprocates, and then the other aspects start to happen naturally. So let's say someone likes to read and hear. What will they be reading and hearing? They'll be reading and hearing about how important. Sooner or later, we'll just keep talking about how it's so important to chant. And then they'll chant. If someone likes to chant and they keep chanting, what will happen? The heart becomes so purified that all the heart wants to do is hear about Krishna. So ultimately, if we do what we're inclined to do, like you said, when we're first starting out, and I think that was your question about devotees that are first starting their spiritual lives and what's more important when we can't do everything, do what we like to do. And the more we do what we like to do, the more we'll get inspired to do other things. And what I'd say is whatever you like to do, whatever we like to do, make sure we have nice devotee association. And if we have nice devotee association, all the other aspects of devotional service will start to come together at the same time. So if you like chanting, chant a lot, but have devotee association. If you like hearing, hear a lot, but have devotee association. So make sure there's devotee association, plus what you like doing in terms of your spiritual practice. That combination will give us will result in a wholesome spiritual life.
Thank you very much. And Prabhuji, about the doors. So we come to a point and there are 2 doors. And now how do we have the intellect which door to take? Because we do not know whether this one is leading to Krishna and this one is leading to Maya. Because at that, you are so confused and you do not know. So
Samudha Chetaha, Arjuna even said to Krishna, I'm so confused, what is my duty? Am I a Kuru Nandana or am I a Kshatriya? Am I a relative of the Kurus, or am I a Kshatriya who needs to protect all the citizens? And then Krishna said to him, act on the platform of the soul. What's your identity? Your identity is you're the servant of Krishna. So ultimately, we should try our best to take the door that's going to situate us in a more wholesome, long-term, sustainable service to the Lord. And yes, these decisions are not easy. We can't just go through a door without having introspected, journaling, thinking deeply, having different, very mature devotees association devotees who can really help us see reality to complexity, and devotees also that love us and know us and know what we're going through. So what I would say is be very, very patient and don't go through either door until a full inventory of the full situation has been taken, and side by side, constantly what must happen is prayer. Keep praying to Krishna. How can I serve you in this situation? Where can I situate myself that will please you and serve you? Where can which door shall I go through? Shall I do this or whatever? Because we are also confused about our duty. This is the situation when there's two, like Arjuna was confused and he acted on the platform of the soul. And this is what we need to, and we can get to that. We just have to be patient. And if we trust Krishna, Krishna will make things clearer and clearer and clearer. And in that way, we will go through the door. And we might go through the wrong door, but if we stay sincere, he'll close that and open the other one or another one.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Are there any other questions? I don't want to hog up all the time.
Minesh Prabhu has his hand up. Oh no, he doesn't. That's my hand. Sorry, that's my mouse, which looks like a hand. Sorry, Hare Krishna.
Okay. Okay. So I'll continue with mine then, Prabhuji.
Sure.
I think for a neophyte or people who are just coming into Krishna consciousness, I think it's difficult for them, Prabhuji, they don't have a job, they don't have food for the next day. And how do they, I mean, this is a very raw example. I mean, they might not have whatever they want. And then yet they are expected to say, Krishna, how do we serve you? They thought that they would be saying, Krishna, how make our lives better, or give us our daily bread, or give us a job, or give us something. Instead of asking something for ourselves, we are asking, Krishna, how do we serve you? So that concept is very difficult for beginners to understand. Because I don't have the means to serve you. How do you serve?
Yeah, it's a nice question. I think with this, it's very that mood of wanting to serve Krishna, it comes after some time. Naturally, when we first come to Krishna, we want something. Either we want relief from misery, or we want wealth, or we want knowledge. We want something, we're inquisitive. So we want something, and that's okay. And that's why we come to Krishna. We come to Krishna because we want something. But Krishna still says, they're all great souls. All these people are very udhara, they're charitable, they're magnanimous. Why? Because they came to Krishna. So I think it's okay to, when we first come to Krishna consciousness, that yes, Krishna is your master. Ask him. He will give you relief. Stop practicing this process in some way, and yes, this will happen. We will get relief from misery. Will definitely be there. That will definitely come. And then in time, when we are more mature in our Krishna consciousness, we'll be able to say, actually, there's nothing more satisfying than serving Krishna. So let me ask him in my situation how I can serve him. But it takes time. It doesn't have to be when we first come. We're straight away thinking, how can I serve you? It takes time. But what's important is to start the process. What's important is to start the process. And what is the process? Developing a relationship. It's just like if we had a child, let's say we gave birth, and the mother and father, decided that we're going to give this child to another family. And then 10 years later, that child became orphaned, and we went back to the biological parents and said, look, you gave me to this family, but these parents, they've now died. Can you look after me? And you're going to say, yes, of course. And then you're going to develop a relationship. You're going to start it's like developing. Okay, you're 10 years old. What do you like to eat? What do you like to wear? What do you want? What's your hobbies? And slowly you develop a relationship with that person. You're developing a relationship. And while you're developing a relationship with someone, you're naturally going to serve them. And when you serve them, You feel love for them. And then you're going to be thinking, actually, the only happiness I'm getting is by just giving more service. So similarly, when we're lost and we come to Krishna. And when we come to Krishna, we want to develop a relationship. And developing relationship, we'll do some service. And by doing some service, the heart will feel satisfied. There'll be contentment. There'll be some inner happiness that it's hard to describe, but we feel it. And then what we do is we just want more and more of that. And then the material world is coming with the tests. But we know deep inside, the only thing that makes me happy is this service when I'm serving Krishna. So we beg Krishna, how can I serve you? And by serving Krishna, we get back to the core of our happiness. And the core of that happiness comes through serving Krishna. Like that.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I know we have just 5 more minutes and we'll release you.
Okay, ma'am.
We have 5 more
Can I
minutes. Can we continue?
Yeah,
5
sure.
minutes. Yeah.
Sure.
Yes, Mansiganga Mataji.
I just wanted to put a little comment to your question. I mean, Kanchanajba did a very good answer. However, I remembered Radha Govind Maharaj, who gives lectures in Hindi on Bhagavatam. One time he said in Hindi, I'll say, I don't know how many people don't understand. Agar mangna hai, jaake mango jo de sakta hai. Meaning, even if you want to ask something personal, go to Krishna because he's the only one who can really give. So mangna hai to go to the person who can give you. You know, in Hindi it sounded very nice. Mango jo de sakta hai, you know. So nothing wrong initially, like Kanchanajba says, in time that mood will develop, but initially come back to Krishna, pray to. I know somebody who came because his dog was dying, you know, to the temple on a Saturday morning, crying away because the dog is with the vet and is dying. So she came crying in the temple. I said, listen, the only thing that can help is you pray to Banki Bihari. And guess what? The dog survived. So she built up her faith in the dog, in Banki Bihari. That, oh, he saved my dog. You see, so people come for different reasons. Tell them, yeah, carry on. And Krishna has his own way of convincing you also. So, mango jo de sakta hai. You know?
Yeah, great
Hare
one.
Krishna, continue.
I like that. Thank you, Mansiganga Mataji.
Okay, so maybe we can conclude, and I'd just like to share my aha moment for today. So these days I have for every verse an aha moment. So in this, I thought what the aha moment was is when you said, Prabhuji, that when you get difficulties, you go to Krishna and take shelter, and the more the difficulties, the more the practice. So at the time of death, so now today I understood what is it at the time of death, that chanting Hare Krishna. And that was a good example that we can shoot ourselves, saying Hare Krishna and shoot ourselves, and that's done. But that's not the real one. It is practicing when you have difficulties, taking shelter. And if you practice that at the time of death, which is going to be a very, not an easy affair, you will definitely ask for Krishna to help you. So thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Kritika Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Prahlad Prabhu, can I ask you to close the session for today, Prabhu? Prahlad Prabhu?
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
First, I would like to thank His Grace Kanchanajba Das Prabhu for joining us and helping us, like I always say with every speaker, on our journey on this path of Krishna consciousness to go back to Godhead. It's very important that we all go back. No one wants to remain here. I mean, I don't want to remain here. Birth after birth, death after death. Nobody wants to. So it's good that we have speakers continuously teaching us and helping us on how to go. Well, I will say faster, but I don't want to say faster at the same time because it's a gradual process. So it definitely helps having you with us, Prabhu, and helping us on this path. So I would like to ask all the devotees assembled here in this Zoom meeting, kindly unmute yourselves and let's chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra once for His grace, Kanchanajba Das Prabhu.
Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare, Hare Ram,
Hare Rama, Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare.
Hare Hare.
Vancha
Pancha Kalpana Sindhu
Denebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namah.
Srila Prabhupada ki,
Jai.
His Grace Kanchanajba Das Prabhu ki.
Jai.
ISKCON Eldoret ki jai.
Jai.
Jai Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much. Hare
Jai.
Krishna.
Thank you.
Thanks, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Bol.
Krishna. Hare Krishna.